Hi, I'm John Densmore of The Doors, and I'm here to answer some questions for Vinyl Me Please.
Hi, this is Robby Krieger from the The Doors, and we're here to answer some questions from Vinyl Me Please.
Aha! Aldous Huxley wrote a book called The Doors of Perception, from which we took the name. It was a wonderful book.
I don't think we rehearsed that much, to tell you the truth. I mean, we had a couple of rehearsals when I first joined the band. And then I remember one day we kind of got kicked out of where we were rehearsing, so we had to rehearse at my house. And my parents said it was okay, you can rehearse in the garage or whatever. So Ray and John came, and we're sitting there waiting for Jim. After about an hour, shit, what's happened, man? Let's find out where this guy is, you know. He was always on time before. So we called a couple of his buddies, and we found out that he was in jail in Blythe, California, which is like hundreds of miles away from LA. And it turns out that he and some of his buddies had gone on a little road trip the day before and got into a fight with Hell's Angels at this bar, and they all got busted. So he was rotting in jail. We had to go get him. So I think that was our third rehearsal ever.
We didn't have a bass player because Ray and I discovered this keyboard bass, and we didn't need one.
We got this piano bass thing that Ray was using, and it actually had, you know, it wasn't a great bass sound, but it was, I think it really helped our sound to develop, because, you know, Ray had to kind of put his left hand on automatic pilot, and so the bass lines would be very kind of simple, but different than a real bass player would have played, because it's on a keyboard. And I think it made us sound different, and so we just kept at it. I guess I'd have to stick with Light My Fire. It was actually the first song I ever did with the Doors. One I can think of is Greta Van Fleet. You know, a lot of people think they sound like Led Zeppelin, but I know they're into the Doors because I met them and I played with them, and they just were, you know, totally into the Doors stuff. I forget which songs we played, but they're really cool guys. I think they will eventually come up with their own sound, and people won't be saying that they're a Led Zeppelin copy or something like that. They're a great band, and yeah, I like them.
I can remember Ray handing me a crumpled piece of paper that said, day destroys the night, night divides the day, tried to run, tried to hide, and then I found myself going like this.
I was still living at my parents' house, and they went on a trip somewhere for a couple of weeks, so I had Jim stay at my house, and we wrote a bunch of songs together, hung out. Luckily, I wasn't there the night that Jim and my brother got arrested for drunk driving, but other than that, it went very smoothly.
You know the day destroys the night.
Probably Bob Dylan. He's always been my fave. Between my sound and his songs, we could do something cool. So Bob, if you're out there watching this, give me a call.
I'd like to play some drums behind Bob Dylan. The night we recorded Light My Fire,
I think it was the night we recorded the end.
I don't know if he had had some LSD or what.
Jim was on large amount of LSD. When we finished recording, everybody was tired and wanted to go home, but he didn't. You know, he was still buzzed on this acid.
We got the take, and then we went home.
We all left, and he pretended to leave, but
Decided to go back to the studio, break in, and hose it down with a fire extinguisher because the song just was too hot.
just glad we weren't there because he would have sprayed us down, I'm sure.
And it came to a door.
I think Miami was the craziest gig we ever had. Jim, unfortunately, was completely drunk. It was theatrical. It wasn't musical. It was theatrical. He didn't expose himself, okay? That was a political stunt to get the hippies. I'm writing a script right now. I would like to have a movie made. That would please me greatly.
Definitely jazz. I mean, I do play jazz now. I wasn't good enough to play jazz back in the Doors days. That's kind of what I love, is jazz and Indian music. You know, I have a sitar. I haven't played in so long, but it's going to take me another 5 years or so to get back into it.
It was interesting when Jay-Z approached us. Hip-hop was just starting out, and I didn't quite understand it, and I said no. And then he sent me a basketball jersey, Team Rock, as in Rockefeller Records, with Densmore on the back, and he wrote me a note saying, "Hey, we're fighting the power just like you did back in the day." And I went, okay, I agree. Strange Days was fun because it was our second album, and the studio became a relaxing place. At first we were intimidated. Then we got used to all the wires and computers, and the studio became like the fifth door.
Jim called me in the middle of the night, and he said, "Man, come on, you have to come over and help us. Me and Pam, we took too much acid." So I went over there, and we went outdoors, and that's always the best thing if you're on too much acid, and hung out in the park, Griffith Park. I said, "Okay, I'm Jim, we're recording tomorrow, so, you know, try to get some sleep, you know." And, okay, cool. So next day, he didn't show up, and that was the day we were going to do when the music's over. So we said, "God, what are we going to do?" That song is like, it's kind of like you have to play off the vocal, right? So Ray said, "Look, I'll just sing it, and then Jim can come in tomorrow and fit it in, you know." And it worked somehow. It was amazing. It was like when Jim came back and put the vocal on, he didn't miss a trick. It was like spot on. Well, only had to do one pass. Okay, here's the commercial. Be sure to check out the 1967 self-entitled record from The Doors, pressed on 180G green and gold Galaxy vinyl. Comes with a clear Light My Fire 7-inch French EP, exclusive from VMP.